Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to another ENFP male interviews. Today I get to interview Lucy. So Lucy, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Lucy, can you tell us what your full type is?
Yeah, so it's Ne+Fi, consume, play, sleep, blast.
All right, so you are an ENFP. What did you think and how did you feel when you got your results back?
Well, my self-type was quite close, so it wasn't too shocking. I think the thing that really surprised me was I thought I was FM. I thought I had masculine DE, and they told me I was double feminine. So I was quite surprised about that because I feel quite manly. I feel kind of like masculine. So I don't know. I just thought it was quite a shock to be double feminine. So I just pictured a double feminine as like, very petite and feminine. I don't know, just kind of not like me. So yeah, that was kind of, I'm kind of like a bit pushy sometimes. People say I'm too blonde, so I just assumed that I must have masculine DE. But Shan told me that it's more about whether you see yourself as a threat or the tribe as a threat, and that makes more sense.
I see. I think maybe because you have masculine FI, that's why you feel like you're masculine inside. Because
yeah,
you are, because you are masculine inside, so it would make sense, right? Like
yeah. And I have masculine saviors, so I guess
yeah. Well, why don't we go with that first? So your first animal is double masculine consume. So double masculine. So masculine NE and masculine FI. So maybe that's why you feel so aggressive, is because your consume is the most aggressive animal out there. So talk about your double masculine NF consume.
It's just like a kind of obsession, it's like basically I'm just always learning something, and if I'm not, I feel frustrated and bored and like kind of like I'm wasting time. So like wherever I am, like if I'm doing something, I've always got something playing, so I'm learning something, or like if I'm out in the world, I've always got a book in my bag, so if there's any like point I'm not doing something, I'll just start reading.
Gotcha. And with the masculine NE, do you have a very good memory of the patterns and concepts that you've learned?
Well, I have like zero memory of like facts and figures. Like if I'm trying to like prove a point and then like bring some evidence up, like there's nothing there. It's just like, I'd have to guess. And I guess I remember something. So I guess I probably remember the patterns more. I mean, what I found is like at school and stuff, I couldn't learn anything by heart, but like once I understood a subject, like it would stay with me. Like once I understood the idea of it, I could like, talk about it, write about it. I sort of knew it. So yeah, I think like once I understand something, like the details go, but I keep the sort of understanding with me. I just sort of take that and just piece it together into like a bigger understanding of things.
Would you say you're super creative as a result of that NE, like that masculine NE?
No, definitely not. I mean, I never thought I was very creative. I actually thought my self-type was SE because it feels like to me, I'm just going out, gathering loads of information because I really want to understand like everything. So I thought I was like gathering SE facts to find the NI understanding. But it seems like I was gathering the NI so I could make like SI steps to make something happen. I don't know. But no, I don't really think I'm that creative.
If I asked you to write like a story, would you be able to like, create like a story, like a fun story?
No, the thing is like, I don't even like thinking about something if it's not like, if it hasn't got a possibility of being real, like it feels like a waste of time to me. Like everything that I consume and I understand, I want it to be in the end useful,
Right.
Or to just give me some understanding of the true reality of everything. Like I mean, I enjoy like sci-fi and stuff like that, but ultimately, like it's kind of feels like a waste of time.
So it sounds like to me that you are fascinated by your demons then, because that's what it sounds like. Because
oh yeah, I definitely am, because like I basically realized I've been peacocking most of my life when I got my type, because I studied science. I'm still working in science. I'm interested in that. I like SF, like I respect SF. I like fashion and art and design and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call myself like an NF hippie, but I mean,
Well,
you know,
I guess it's hard to see what we are until we've got a type.
yeah,
Like I
exactly.
was surprised when I got type 2. Like they're like, yeah, you are an ENFP, but you're not like the NEFI that you thought you were. You are an NT nerd. I'm like, oh shit. Because I guess I was fascinated with my demons too, right? Which is like the NF consume, but that's third for me. So but that's not me though. I'm the NT nerd. So
Yeah,
um
it's weird, isn't it?
yeah, but
So
you
yeah, so like I'm supposed to be a nerd hippie because I have NT second, which kind of, I mean, a hippie nerd, which kind of makes sense. I mean, a bit, but yeah, it's strange. I guess like I always seen that part of me, but I didn't realize that was me. You know, like that was the bit that was most me. You know.
right. Yeah, it's also double masculine, so it's really in your face. But then
Yeah,
you can't see it, I guess.
it's weird.
But you have your NE is double activated because you have NT second, right? Like you have NT play second, so
Yes,
your
it's
NE
true.
is like cranked up to the max. So you're just like gathering all day nonstop without any
Yes.
breaks in an aggressive.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah. Um, but your second animal is NT. So talk about that. Like, do you like to play with the tribe, joke around with the tribe, but in a more like nerdy state, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think I see my NT as why, like I consider myself a good worker, like at work. You know, my jobs, I like it and I do well at work. So I think that's what I use for that. Basically, just like making things happen, understanding things, and just figuring things out, just to make whatever we're doing work. And also, I guess like I can see it in like my interaction with people. Like my favorite thing in the world is to, you know, just be with like a group of people who have the same sense of humor as me. Maybe it's a bit aggressive and, you know, just throwing crazy jokes. And I guess that's what it is.
Yeah. I guess you also like troubleshooting with a tribe,
Yeah.
like
I
problem
do that
solving.
work as well. Yeah.
Yeah, with other people, problem solving with other people. Um,
Yeah.
you have double activated FI, and it's masculine also. So it's not just your NE that's double activated, it's also your FI because you have double activated consume. So talk about your masculine FI. Like, what are the things that you value in your life? You know, let's start with your values
Yeah.
first. Like, what are your personal values? Do you have like a top 5 values that you have?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can definitely see this part of me. Like I would say I'm kind of like a bit preachy, a bit like moralizing. I mean, and it just like comes out of me sometimes, you know, like it basically just gets triggered sometimes and then I just I can't help myself. So yeah, so values like freedom, equality, or equal opportunities, like compassion, fairness, truth, beauty. I don't know if that's a value, but something
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
yeah, I guess they're the main ones.
And your sleep is third. And your sleep is SF. So you said that you do value the SF. You like fashion. You like art. Um, what about emotional processing? Like, how do you process your feelings and your emotions with that sleep third?
Um, sorry, someone's in the kitchen. I can't really
Yeah,
think at the same time.
it's okay. You're any
Okay,
distracted.
so yes, true. How do I process emotions? Okay, so basically, when I have an emotion, it's usually very intense and I don't want anyone to see it. So what I normally do is go by myself and just process it alone, or I just go to sleep and then I know I'm gonna feel better in the morning. But yeah, I just do it by myself and like I can usually figure out why I'm upset, and just sort of like manage it by myself. I mean, I could usually feel it and just keep it to myself and just like if I have to like do other stuff, I just push through it. I'm not good at hiding that usually, like if I do feel bad and I have to do work or something, like I think it shows, it comes out. But eventually, like I can process it and, move, And I guess, yeah, it's just like, if I have an emotion and it's there, like I can't get rid of it. Like it's just something I just have to go through until I get to the other side. And I find it hard to like fake emotions, like fake happiness when I'm not feeling happy, or like pretend I'm sad when I'm not. Like,
right.
It's just like a big force I just deal with, basically.
Yeah. I can relate to the, can't force the feeling, like everyone's acting happy and stuff. But if you don't feel happy, then you're not gonna be happy, right? But it's also bad because then if everyone's feeling sad, but you don't feel sad, you feel happy, then it's gonna come across as also like awkward. Like I think my sister,
definitely.
I think my sister's an ENFP, and she works as a nurse, and she had to tell a family that their family member is in terminal condition, but she told them the news with a smile because she has like FI, right? So FI is like inappropriate. So
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, you look like a sociopath, or
Yeah. It's bad. I mean, like I thought I was savior T just because I'm so like awkward with that kind of thing, and like I could be a vibe killer, like if I'm feeling terrible, it's hard for me to like for people not to feel it,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm great with that kind of thing. Maybe that's more like an FE thing, but I do have a lot of feelings and values. I don't know.
Now your last animal is double feminine ST blast. So this is gonna be the hardest thing in the world for you because it's not just fourth, it's also double feminine. So like physical things almost like just fly away from your brain. So talk about like are you able to teach people on a step-by-step format, like a lesson, like a blaster lesson? Have you ever tried it at work or just in life in general? Like step 1, do this. Step 2, do this, because that's what ST blast is, right?
I mean, I guess I don't do that much. I have trained people at work, but I guess I probably do that more through play. Like the back and forth. I do. I mean, I have kids and I have to blast at them all the time. I'm very like, what's the word? Tolerant. So I don't really control them, and they just like, run around causing chaos. But then like if they go over a line where they're doing something that's not safe, or like they're hurting each other, and I have to blast at them, I'm so annoyed that I have to do it that it comes out really strong. Like I'm really like angry, and it's not good. Like I have a hard time doing it in a calm state, basically. So I hate doing it.
Yeah, David Chan said that when you're using your demons, or not just your demons, but your your fourth function specifically, then it makes you angry because then you're forced to use it.
Does make me angry.
Like there's a guy that they like to tell people, Wes Watson, the ESTJ, same function stack as we do, and he's sleep last, and his videos are all sleep last videos, and he's always like cursing nonstop and swearing because he's forced to use his fourth animal, and it just like makes you rage. Like even for me, I have the same function stack as you, right? Just different order, but when I'm forced to blast, I'm just really pissed off. Like I'm in a pissed off state. Like when I'm making those explainer videos, like even though it's a savior for me, it's the fact that I'm using my SI. I'm like pissed off. Like,
Yeah, definitely. It's horrible because like even before I had kids, I hardly had to use it, so I was never angry ever. Really, I'll play maybe if I had to do a form or something. But then after I had kids, I was like having to blast all the time. And I just suddenly turned into this like angry monster. And I was like, what am I?
Yeah.
It was horrible. And then it's horrible for my kids because, you don't want to have an angry parent. So.
No.
Yeah, like the dark side came and reared its head. I'm a bit more patient now, but not always. Like I still get like pushed over the edge sometimes. It's bad. I don't really know what to do about it, to be honest.
Okay, so your type is consume, play with blast last, and Dave and Chan, they like to call you guys bird chippers, or
like
they have a funny description of
painful.
yeah, like because they had an ENTP, the Snowden guy, and that Imogen Heap or something. But anyways, when you watch their videos, it's like they said that you guys can talk for hours about nothing. It's like the way to describe it is because you're not blasting, right? So there's no point. So you're talking in circles for like, and because play is high, you can talk forever, and it's like,
Yeah,
so how
that's true.
do you relate to that? Like, would you say you do that? Like, it's not something you do, like
Yeah.
talk in
I
circles?
mean, every time I hear them say that word, I'm just like cringing because I know I do it. The thing is, like, sometimes I think I do blast out. I don't know if it's blast or not, but like sometimes, like if I've been consuming about something and then I've talked to someone about it, and then suddenly it all makes sense in my mind. It just comes out like a massive torrent, like, and then it's like this blast that comes out. That's occasionally, but yeah, most of the time when I'm talking to someone, I'm either like joking around or I'm trying to figure something out. And if I'm figuring something out, yeah, it's just round in circles because I'm just trying to work it out in my mind. So I'm just like saying all this stuff, and yeah, I don't even know where it's leading. But like I know if I talk long enough, I'll figure something out from it.
Yeah, that's what I noticed with you guys. Those with the blast last ENFPs is that you can talk in circles for like half an hour before,
Yeah,
and then I have to like what's the word I'm looking for? I have to translate your language into ST because I
that would be
I,
nice.
I'm I like to look at myself as the ENFP translator because then you guys are talking this like crazy language, and then because I have ST as a savior, I can translate to normal humans. You know, like
Yeah.
what you guys are
I
saying.
think that's what I'm trying to get to, you know, like trying to get that end thing, but it's like buried under some stuff, and I'm just like trying to find it, just going in, going in.
Yeah, because earlier you said that you what did you say? You said that you have a big blast, but I
Yeah,
feel like I don't think you're blasting in your. I think that's probably still play, and it's a massive
yeah,
like
could be.
play like
Yeah,
yeah, like because okay, like SD blast is actually not it's not complicated, especially for ENFPs. It's just like step one, do this, step two, do this.
okay.
Like
Yeah, that is probably play.
cause, no, but like Benjamin, for example, he said that you haven't gathered anything unless you organize it, right? So like
Yeah,
if you spend all day like reading or listening to podcasts or audiobooks, but then you can't translate to like step one do this, step two do this, step three do this, then you didn't read anything. You know, that's kind of like. And then when he said that,
yeah,
I kind of accepted it. I'm like, ah, shit, that's right. So I started keeping like a notebook or like a notepad of like whatever I read in a book. Like if I take a book and I should be able to condense it in a step one, step two, and there's like a specific result at the end. So do you think you can do that with like any of the books or audiobooks that
yeah.
you listen to?
So what happens to me is like I just like I don't know how it happens or why it happens, but suddenly I'm like interested in something, and that thing I'm like totally obsessed with it, and then I'll just like consume everything every minute. All I want to do is learn about it, and I'll just learn a huge amount, and then like once I'm out the other side, well, then I'll talk to someone about it so I can like sort it out a bit in my mind.
Yeah.
And then at some point I'll figure out what I wanted to figure out, and then I'll take away these like a few steps, you know, of how to implement in my life. So for example, like I was like going crazy about nutrition. So I was learning loads and loads. So I was having some health problems. That's what triggered that one. So I learned. And then like eventually I figured out the solution, and then I took this takeaway. I'm gonna do these steps in my life. And it usually works, like, you know, because I
Can,
have done all that stuff.
can you give an
But I should
example?
get more than that out the other side, basically. Like I couldn't like do a lecture or anything like that. I've just got these small steps I can use.
Okay, can you tell me what the small steps are for your health when you had that health issue? What was the small steps?
Yes. So I was having like having like low blood sugar, so like feeling like nearly fainting, stuff like that. So I went to the doctor, and they were just like, "Oh, it's nothing," and it was really affecting me. So I read all about, you know, nutrition, and then I read about hyperglycemia, realized that's what I've got, and then like I realized basically eating like sugar, especially between meals, is really bad for me. That I should eat complex carbs if I'm going to eat carbs. I should eat more healthy fats, protein, and have like, you know, like balanced food for each meal. Try not to eat between meals. So I implemented these steps that I figured out from all this research, and now like I've basically cured myself, and I don't have these problems anymore. So that's an example.
Okay, there was a little bit of SI there, just a little bit. Like I So, but your SI that you use there, it's not blast. It's you're using the SI from sleep. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So because you were doing it step by step, but you were telling your personal story. So you're like, yeah, and then you're like, so what you did was like, I felt this, and then after I felt this, I went to see the doctor, and then when the doctor told me this, I wasn't satisfied with his answer. I read this book, and after I read this
Yeah.
book, I did this. So it's like I, right? You use the word I, and
Yeah.
so you did use your SI, but in with the sleep, not with the blast.
So I
So
guess the blast would come in if I met someone who also had hypoglycemia or had like early stage diabetes. I would blast at them steps what they should do to cure themselves.
right, yeah, there you go.
I
Yeah,
would be like, cut the sugar, don't eat between meals, like make sure you have fat in a healthy fat in your diet, don't eat processed food. You know, I'd be able to do it
yeah, there you
then.
go. Yeah, that's a blast. There you go. You got it. There you go.
Yeah, but as like super concise, like.
Yeah, yeah, it has to be
But then
super
when it
concise.
comes out, it sounds really offensive to people, I think. So they're just like, oh my gosh. Like,
I think it only sounds offensive to you because you're scared
okay.
because you don't want people
Yeah,
to do that to
maybe.
you. Like you don't want people to control
That's
you.
true.
So it's like you're projecting your fears into other people.
Could be.
Because I bet you 100% if you do it to someone, they'll be like, oh my god, thank you so much. You know, you just and then you're like, huh, I thought I was like a controlling asshole, but really you were like,
Yeah. That's
helping. So
interesting.
yeah. So I don't think you should like for me, if I talk about my SF sleep, I feel like such a douchebag asshole. Like, oh, why am I talking about myself so much? Like, is that okay? But it actually is,
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
like
I think I'm gonna start watching some like ESTJs, and just get some tips from them. I don't know.
yeah. Well, okay, like basically if you read a book, you should be able to take a notepad and in just one page put like 5 sentences, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Like that's
Just
it.
thinking about that drains me. Like, oh, just hearing you say that makes me be like, oh gosh, no. I don't want it to.
I know it sounds horrible, but like it's like okay,
Yeah, I should
like
probably
let's
do
see,
that.
like let's say I have this book, right? And then don't worry about the book. The book's pretty boring actually. But like so my goal is after I finish reading that book, I should be able to put it in just like not even one page, maybe like half a page, just step 1, step 2. Because I mean really the whole book is the guy like just ranting. Like I'm halfway through and I've just learned that he's a ranter. So but so you're like the takeaway here is like what are the actionable steps that can produce like positive results, right? Like I think if you have you read the Dave Ramsey book, The Total Money Makeover? Yeah, that I don't know what type he is. He's probably an ESTJ, but the whole book is pretty much step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this. And I think if you read that book, then you'll learn how to use ST Blast because it's just like you just copy that book and paste it on like other books.
Oh, that's useful. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So you are a double decider, and that means you are balanced with self and tribe. So talk about like like not getting offended easily by people and like a lot of things just roll off your shoulder and like you could always see the perspective of different groups as well as yourself, so you can see if it's like a legitimately like people problem or if it's just like not a big deal. It's just like people are just over
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely I could see that. Like I type myself as NEP, double decider with TEFI in the middle. I could see that. Because yeah, I mean I actually like it when people take the piss out of me. Because then I can do it back and I think it's funny and then we can joke together.
Yeah.
Because like I grew up in a city where that was pretty normal. That was like the culture to do that. And I just, I liked it. And then I moved away and tried to do that with other people and then realized they were getting offended and like upset. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what? And I realized basically that not everyone's a double decider and you can't do that with everyone.
Yeah.
And that was so annoying. So since then, basically, I've had to like test people to see, if they can take it. And if they can, I just love those people so much. Like, in terms of friends, I want friends who are like that, so I can just like joke around with them.
Which city did you live in that people were like?
I grew up in Liverpool.
Oh, Liverpool. Okay, so people are more.
Yeah, you just like walk down the street and people will shout things at you, like as a joke.
Okay, and then it's like totally normal there. It's like
yeah, totally normal. You're weird if you're a decider there, basically.
So it's a double decider city.
yeah, definitely.
That's funny.
And my mom, I think she's a decider because she always found it really, like, she hated it. And when we did it when we were kids, she'd always get upset and be like, oh, be kind to each other, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. And then I'm pretty sure my husband's a decider, and he gets like worked up about people, and I don't see it basically. And basically, you know, like in offices and stuff, there's always like politics going on. It totally goes over my head. Like either I don't notice it or like I don't care. Like it just doesn't interest me.
Is your husband like an EJ, like a EJ?
No, I think it's an IP.
Oh, okay, so he's super selfish.
He's just bitching about the tribe all the time. The tribe, the gang.
Well, that could be an EJ too, right? So
Yeah, but like he's
so the IPs are super selfish and they won't move for the tribe, and then the EJs don't do anything for themselves. So which one is he doing?
Yeah, he's always annoyed that the tribe want him to do something because he wants to do what he wants to do.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Um, you are an observer, so you have problems with fear. Talk about the fears that you have that's coming from the SI. Like, are you like claustrophobic, or like what kind of like SI like things problem do you have?
I mean, I have like huge problems with like, you know, personal admin stuff. I mean, like if I get a tax letter in the post, I feel like anxiety fill me.
Yeah.
I find it hard to even just read those letters, you know, like I have to do a deep breath because like I can feel myself starting to panic if I just have to like, you know, just calm myself down, psych myself up to deal with that kind of thing. So definitely that. I don't know. I guess I feel for a while I had like, I barely had enough money each month. So being stressed about that. That was kind of a fear, like maybe I won't have enough money, I won't be able to pay my bills, or, you know, won't be able to pay my rent. Or like fears as in like, say if I'm unemployed and I need to get a job, scared that I won't be able to get a job or something like that. They're the kind of things that freak me out.
Yeah, I totally relate to a lot of the stuff that you said. Like I had like money problems like my whole life, you know. Like it's weird because I'm Asian, right? You know, Asian people are supposed to be frugal, but
yeah.
I'm not. Like
Canada's had a bad influence on you.
What's that?
Canada's had a bad influence on you.
What? Sorry?
Canada's had a bad influence on you.
Yeah, damn Canada. Yeah, I came here and I was frugal when I came here and I was good at saving money. And then the longer I lived here, the more I got sucked in like the consumerism culture and like and like it's like I've been like in and out of debt for like the last few years. But like during the pandemic was the best one because I was talking to Dave and I was like, okay, SI is my problem here. The biggest problem here is controlling my finances. So next time I want to buy something shiny, you have to sleep. Number one, sleep on it. Number two, talk to someone first. Tell them what your plan is so that if your plan is stupid, they can like tell you that you're being an idiot. So like a few times my girlfriend, I wanted to buy something and my girlfriend would go up to me. It's like, do you really need that? And I'm like,
oh, that's good. Yeah.
My girlfriend.
Yeah, my husband's a bit like that.
Yeah, I have an IJ girlfriend, right? She's an INTJ, right? So she's like, do you really need that? Are you sure? Maybe you should.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe you should wait a week. Give it a week. You know, I'm like, I want it now. And then it's like,
yeah, it's really hard, isn't it?
And then like, give it a week. And then she's like, so even after I buy it, she'll look at me and she's like, did you really want that? Or maybe,
guilt.
Or do you want to return?
Guilt tripping you?
No, she's not guilt tripping me. She's asking me legitimate questions. And
okay.
I don't
think about it.
I don't feel guilt tripped. And then I feel like she's trying to talk some sense into me, which is good. And like there was a few times when I did buy something that was expensive, and then she talked to me, and then I said, okay, you know what? I don't feel very happy having this. I'm gonna go return right now. So I went.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but there was times when I did buy something expensive, and then she looked at me, and then she's like, okay, looks like that was a good purchase for you because it brought you a lot of joy. You know, so you know it's a tough balancing act. But like before the pandemic, I remember I controlled myself for like 1 year. I limited my spend. It's not like I didn't spend money, but I controlled myself. I was freaking out seriously inside. I was like, there's so much thing I want to buy. I'm like overloading, and like right before the pandemic hit, I paid off all my debt. And right after I paid off my debt, the pandemic hit. I lost my job, and I was like, oh my god, I just avoided the worst. I could have had imagine not having a job and having a debt, but because
it's horrible, isn't it?
Right, and then Dave went up to me. He's like, "There you go. This is the power of op. Like you,
that's true.
You respected your SI, and now you are not gonna be fucked, you know."
Yeah.
And yes, like I did have a few money like scares during the pandemic, but I got through it because I didn't have any debt. So now I'm like I preach this option stuff, you know, because I'm like, oh my god, really just working this SI magical things will happen to me. I'm like. Like Jesus.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and like the Annie's bullshit too. Like a few days ago, I was feeling like really like there's so much things I wanted to buy. I wanted to buy, like I bought a PlayStation 5 and like I got lucky, I got one, and I bought a bunch of other stuff, and like I wanted to buy more stuff, and I'm like feeling constricted and like feeling trapped, and I'm like, no, me buying this will make me feel trapped. So like I'm now like putting an emotional connection with like things. It's like if you acquire more things, you're gonna get trapped. So really think about it.
That's true.
Think it through before you do it, because you're gonna trap yourself if you don't. And I'm like, and I'm like, it's worse for you guys. It's worse for you because you have double masculine NF consume, right? Like mine's feminine, so you know.
The thing is, like, I feel bad buying stuff that's like because I have ridiculous moralistic values. That's like bad for the planet, or like fast fashion and stuff like that. So I have like ways to get my fix without like destroying myself or whatever. So like I go to like charity shops, for example, a lot. So I can buy anything in there because it's cheap.
Right.
There's loads of it. It's all different, and I'm helping the world, and like I can just give it back again and stuff like that. I still get this nice feeling from getting something new.
So where did you get like caught in the past with like money issues? If you're not buying expensive stuff, like where did you?
Yeah, because that's stuff that I've learned from the past. So basically, when I lived by myself in London, I had a job, fine job. I mean, it wasn't paying loads, but like every penny I got, I spent traveling, and I had zero savings. Every month, I would be just over the red, and I would be going like that over and over in cycles. And then I met my husband, and then he was basically like, you can't live like that. So I was slightly better. We still went on holidays. We still went traveling. But, I was slightly less close to the red. And then I was starting to get like to manage it. And then I had kids. Oh my gosh, they're so expensive. Childcare, you have to work part-time. Well, I work part-time. And oh my gosh, like for 5 years, both of us really struggling to have enough money. And it was a nightmare because like I couldn't spend stuff because, I didn't have the money. So like I was forced to stop my habits. So I haven't been traveling for 5 years, for example. I can't buy stuff. So then I got used to living in this more restricted way, or I'd go out, to the pub and just have like a couple of pints and just spread them out the whole night, or like if friends were meeting up, I'd meet after the meal, just for the drink, stuff like that, just finding ways around it. So now I have these good habits. And then suddenly in the pandemic, like all the stars aligned, and like now I actually have loads of money for the first time in my adult life. Like I have enough money coming in, and it's amazing. Like I can pay a cleaner for the first time, and she comes every week and she cleans my house, and it's like the best feeling ever. It's just so good. Yeah, and all my like bills are paid off. Oh, so good. It just feels amazing.
Okay, so Lucy, I have a question for you. This is your chance to ST blast, because I'm kind of like in a similar situation as you. Knowing what you now know, if you can turn back time before you had kids and you were in this situation where you're like just right below the red line of making rent or having enough money, what would you have done differently before you had kids to prepare yourself for when you had kids, so that when you have kids, you're not going to be in that panic mode like you and your husband did, trying to make ends meet because kids are so expensive? Like what would you have done then to prepare for like what you went through how could you have made that what you went through not as difficult as as it was?
The only thing I can think of I could have done would be to have moved back to where my parents lived and got free childcare from them, which I wouldn't have done that. I'd rather have toiled with the poverty than live next to my parents.
So do you think that would have been a better idea to move back to your parents?
No, I mean, I would have been better off financially, but I wouldn't have done that. I couldn't do that.
Right. No. So what I'm asking is, before you had kids, before you had a baby.
So what I could do to prepare for it?
Yeah. What like even not even like when you were pregnant, but before you were even pregnant. Like if let's say 3 years before you got pregnant, like if you had 3 years to plan, what would you have done in that 3 years to cushion the blow once you have kids? Like what would you have done?
Well,
if you could change time.
I guess I could. What I could have done was, instead of doing a job that I just liked but it didn't pay that well, I could have picked a job that paid really well, and I could have saved up in those years. And then I would have had like emergency fund for like when we didn't have enough for childcare and stuff.
There you go. That's a good advice right there. Because I'm like you. I always work at things that I like, even though I know I can get something that pays more, but I won't like as much. But,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could have. I find it so hard to work when my FI is not into it.
Right.
I mean, I thought about it. I've been to interviews like that before, for jobs, and just something inside me is just like, no. You can't do this.
Right. Okay. So, is this an advice you would have taken?
I probably not.
Okay. Okay. So what kind of advice would you take yourself if you can prepare, again, like say 3 years before you had kids?
To be honest, I would have questioned whether it should happen.
Okay, so that would have been it. You would have questioned, but you don't regret having your kids, right? So
no, I don't. But it was so hard. It's been so hard when they were babies, like so hard. That if I'd known how hard I would have found it, I don't know if I would have had them.
Gotcha.
Because I've basically been miserable for 5 years.
Oh my God.
I'm not now. Like, I'm out the other side now and I'm really happy, but like, it's a long time.
So back to my question then, like ST. So what would you have done to cushion the blow, to make that last few years that was miserable less miserable, had you planned for it first? What would you have done to
so the two elements that would have made it better is more childcare, less expensive childcare, and more money. So having like my parents, because I don't really think I would trust babies to anyone else, being near my parents, having like savings, and also the other thing that made me miserable was working part-time. I would have liked to, although the thing is, like, I chose that. Like, I could have gone back to work and then had more money and like been happier because I'd been at work and spent less time with the babies. But like, I felt my FI wouldn't let me, because I felt the best thing for them was to be with their mother when they were infants. So even though I was miserable, I chose that, and I could have stopped it then. I didn't.
Did you regret the decision, or would you would have done the same thing?
No, I think I would have done the same thing. The thing is, I don't know what function it is. Maybe it's masculine FI, but if I have like something in mind that I think I should do, like I will do that no matter how hard it is or like how awful it is. I'll just push through if I think it's right.
So earlier, I like how you did narrow down the SI when it comes to the child, the first 5 years of having a kid, when it was like I guess the nightmare situation for you. Because right now you said you're now past that horrible hump, and you narrowed it down to.
My kids never watch this.
Yeah. Well, it's fine. I think it's something that everyone will probably have to go through, especially EPs who didn't plan for it. But you narrowed down to two things, which I thought was very interesting. So you didn't narrow it down. So you said the first one was having more savings, and the second one was more childcare. And you said that if you had those two, it wouldn't be as bad as what you went through, right? Um, so the first question I have then this is gonna be a very ST question, okay? How much money, like give me a concrete figure. You can use pounds or dollars, US dollars.
Okay, a few
How much
things. Big
how much
ones.
how much money did you need to save up, where if you had it saved up and you had that 5 years, you would have felt like okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you felt okay.
Okay. So basically, in the UK, childcare is like, well, it's basically like if you've got a low wage, it's basically the same as your salary. You've got kind of like just an average job. So basically, you're living off one person's salary, and that's tight. So basically, I'd say at least half of my salary extra. So that would work out like at least £500 per month. So that would be like £6,000 a year. 6 times 5, 30.
So
Wow, that's a lot.
if you had 6,000 pounds extra per year to go towards childcare, it would have made your life a lot better during that 5 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that's 10,000 Canadian dollars. I just translated your pound. Your pounds is super strong now too. I should have bought some pounds when you guys crashed.
I'm sure we'll crash soon.
Yeah. Brexit already happened, right?
Yeah, but we have a dodgy prime minister.
Oh, okay. But okay, so the, so for childcare, you said that you should have 6,000 pounds per year, and the childcare you need it for 5 years. Then you would say.
Yeah, at one point I was paying for 2 kids, because if you have one kid, it's one thing, and then if you have another kid, it just like adds to the problem. So at year 2, when I had a second child, I needed more. Oh gosh. And then it's kind of complicated because at some point in the UK, it starts to be subsidized by the government.
Okay.
I guess at the age the government decides it's morally appropriate for women to go back to work.
Oh, just to make it, I guess, more gender neutral.
Yeah.
You guys.
Oh.
What if the husband wants to stay home with the kids? Is that?
It's actually quite good. When I first had my first kid, it was only 2 weeks paternity leave allowed, which is ridiculous. But by the time I had my second kid, they changed the law so that men and women could share the leave. So so we split it.
Got it. So your husband did stay home and took care of the kid too.
Yeah. The second time, we did it wasn't 50-50. It was like I did 6 months. No, I did 9 months and he did 3 months. So we shared the beginning, because when you first have a baby, having to do that by yourself, it's brutal, especially if you have another kid.
Okay, so the first 3 months is the worst.
Yeah, definitely.
So ideally, you and your husband should not be working at that point. Just
No, I don't think so. I think it's terrible that it's pretty bad here. In America, it's even worse because women go back weeks after having given birth. Like their bodies are broken, they're still healing, and they're sent back to the office. It's so horrible. They have to pay their medical care and all that. Oh my gosh, it's like another level of trauma. I don't know how they cope.
Yeah, it's terrible in the US. It's kind of weird because they're the most powerful country in the world, but they have the worst healthcare system in the world.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I used to go to college, and my boss in the college, because I used to work as a student employee. When I graduated, later on I became a full-time personal trainer, and I ended up starting my own business. She became my customer, her and her husband. So I used to go to her house and train them while they just had the baby, so I can see the nightmare that they were experiencing when they had a kid. And I just remember the the wife, which is my boss, she was just raging the whole time. She's like, I don't want to be home with this kid. I want to go back to work. But like
exactly,
the workplace gave her 2 years of paid maternity.
Oh gosh, yeah, 2 years is such a long time.
And she was just raging, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, that would be awesome to be at home for 2 years. Like,
no, it's not. It's not. I was on maternity leave for 9 months, and both times it was so hard, so long.
okay.
And then by the time you get to the end of it, you're not in a mental state to go back to work. I mean, as soon as I was back at work, I felt fine again. But like some people give up their job and they have to go for interviews. Going for interviews in that mental state must be so hard. I'm so glad I kept on to my job through there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fear, a big fear. Imagine not having a job to go back to. Oh my god.
Honestly, you could write a book on this. You
Oh
probably.
yeah, I could. I could rant all day long about this. If I'm drunk, I'll just start ranting about kids.
No, but you have some really good tips. Like for me, like I'm like asking these questions because I am in that situation where like I am planning on, at some point get married and have kids. And I am at that point where like me and my girlfriend, I have just a tiny savings, and she has a bigger savings than me because she's an IJ. So thank God that she's an IJ and she's making more rational decisions than I am.
Thank God you're a man, so you don't have to have the baby.
What's that?
Thank God you're a man, so you don't actually have to have it.
Yeah, that's the benefit of it. But although I am working, like I'm trying to build up like 2 online business right now. I have the ENFP Mail and I have like a travel YouTube channel because I'm like you, I love traveling too. That's where my money went to, like you, like just travel, like traveling everywhere.
I don't regret it either.
Yeah, no, same. I feel the same way as you. Like 0 regrets is the best decision I've ever made.
Exactly, I'd go again if I could.
Yeah, and I definitely gonna do it. I get my girlfriend to come with me. My girlfriend loves traveling too, so.
Yeah, so does my husband.
What was I getting at here? But like, we'd like to prepare so we don't get in a situation. Like for me, the way I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna, like I grew up in Asia, in Canada, and my girlfriend is born in the US. So my girlfriend is, even though she's Chinese, she's American, right? And kind of like you, because we're both like intuitives, we have like issues with like taxes. My girlfriend is like, she owes like the US government like taxes right now, which is like, she's like raging, right? Because she has to use the SE, and she's like raging.
Yeah.
It's like, there's so much like chaos that's coming.
Yeah, it's horrible.
The US government.
I feel that rage.
Yeah, and then for me, like, because I'm info dominant, it's not as bad as her, because I'm like, okay, like I'm still like freaked out that I'm gonna get a letter saying that I fucked up my taxes. But, like I'm really like paranoid. Like I keep all like my receipts online. I uploaded the receipts, and but like I noticed with INTJs, they just do a ballpark figure when they declare their taxes, which is gonna fuck them up later on, because the tax person, they want the exact number, right? They don't want a ballpark figure. So I'm like, what are you gonna, I talked to my INTJ friends, and they're like, what are you gonna do when like you made a ballpark figure of how much you paid for taxes? What happens if they catch you?
Oh my gosh, I'm getting stressed listening to this.
And my friend's like, I don't know, it'll solve itself. I'm like, no, it won't solve itself.
Oh gosh, stuff of nightmares.
No, you can't sweep that under the rug. You can't put a fake number on your taxes.
Gosh.
And when the tax man comes, you're fucked. Like it's not just for EPs, right? For IJs who are into it, like INFJs and INTJs, you're gonna get caught. You're gonna have chaos for making shit up, because you don't want to have the exact figure. You don't want to SI it, right? So for us, it's a little bit different, right? Because we have SI, so it's not as bad as the SE when it comes to taxes, And
it's true.
Yeah, and I'm just cringing. I'm like, oh my god, what the hell fuck are you guys doing? Go pay your exact amount of taxes that you owe. You can't.
How do you sleep at night?
What's that?
How do you sleep at night?
Yeah, I won't be able to sleep. They seem like they're okay. They don't even think about it, and I'm like, that would give me a heart attack. Like thinking about that.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Knowing that I owe government like X amount of dollars, I know that it's eventually they're gonna come after me. Like governments will let criminals get away, but they don't let anyone who
they'll get you if you're a little man,
Yeah, even if you get $1 off, they're gonna come after you. They're like
easy pickings.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you know what? So I've narrowed down your stuff that you said to me earlier. So step number 1 before you have kids, make sure you have 6,000 pounds per year or $10,000 Canadian in my case.
Well, you need to check how much the childcare is where you live, and you need to decide what kind of childcare quality is acceptable to you, because there's different levels.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Can you have like a worse childcare when they're a little bit older?
Yeah, definitely. When they can speak, it's not so bad.
Yeah, when
here it's free when they're older.
Oh, it's free when they're older. Oh,
well, when they get to 3, it's pretty much mostly free. Yeah.
So you only need to save up childcare for the first 3 years, really? Then,
yeah. Well, it might be different in Canada, but yeah, you need to check out that. Talk to some people, or just look online, or do the SI.
So my plan was I was gonna go because I'm Chinese, but I was born in the Philippines. So my plan was I was gonna go move to Asia for the duration of like when I do have kids at some point in the future. It's still like several years from now, but like I was gonna move to Asia because you can hire a nanny for like a full-time nanny.
Yeah, that's true.
Or 400 Canadian a month. Let me see how much that is in pounds. So yeah, for 240 pounds a month, you can have a full-time nanny.
That's pretty good. I mean, you have to make sure you get one you can trust. That's tricky as well, but
right. Well,
if she's in your house all the time, it's the easier thing.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, they'll live with us pretty much for just for that duration of like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a good plan. That's a good plan. I thought about moving to Asia when I had a kid, but in the end it was just too hard because I didn't think I could work.
Yeah, you would have to have like some kind of online job. Like that's why I'm doing online stuff right now. Okay. I told my girlfriend I'll be like you can go to work, I'll take care of the kids, like I'll be the stay home. Because
be careful what you promised.
yeah, maybe I'll regret it later when it does happen. I'm like, oh shit, what did I sign up for?
If she's an IJ, she might like to do it. If it's in an IJ box, I don't know.
No, she's cool with it. We talked about it already. She's like
doing full-time childcare.
No, not full-time childcare, just for the first few years. Like just like that's why she's supporting me while I build up my online business, because she's like,
that's good.
Because she knows it's gonna benefit her when she has the kid.
Yeah.
They later on she can like have the freedom to go to work, and I can just work from home, right? And then I won't be as productive.
Well, but looks like you've thought this through way better than I did.
No, but there's some stuff that you there's some gold nuggets that you gave, like the number figure, for example. Like I really like that. Like I think like, okay, now I can save up for that. Like I can, like I was thinking about already, like when the pandemic ends, because right now I'm collecting employment insurance. Like since last year when the pandemic hit, I was out of job, but I'm not fired or anything. I was furloughed, so I'm still employed. I'm back part time now because the company I work for is like they have like a reopening. I work for a government, like the community centers. So they have like a small reopening, and they have like some hours back. But like I think after pandemic ends, once everyone gets their 2 vaccines and whatnot, like we're gonna go back to full-time work. And the thing I hate the most in my job is teaching group fitness. Like I absolutely hate like teaching boot camp and all that shit. And like I teach a lot of senior fitness too. Like a lot of old people, like the old people like me too because I'm young. Because they're sick of like having like old person teach them. Because they say that when an old person teach them, they feel old,
Oh, that's cute.
They're teaching them that they're treating them like they're weak and they're like about to die,
Oh gosh.
Like for me, when I teach them, I make them feel like, no, you can get, not only are we gonna get you stronger, you're gonna feel young again. And they're like, yay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and one of the things that makes me so happy when I teach the oldest is like after class, they hang out. They're like, we're gonna go get some drinks. Like I teach a class called OsteoFit, so this is for people with osteoporosis. So technically they're not supposed to drink because it'll make their bone density worse. But for me, I'm like, hey, you know what, guys, go have fun.
I'll buy a round of milks.
Yeah, go have fun and go make friends, go spend time together, go drink. This is your time in your life. Who cares about the rules? Fuck it, just go.
Oh, exactly. When you get to that age.
And for me, it's because one of the biggest problem with the seniors is that when they're not having fun, they stop showing up to the exercise classes, right? So for me, I'd rather them have fun and make friends and break some rules so that they can continue doing it,
Yeah, definitely.
I look at the bigger
It's going to help their mental health as well.
But the thing is, I hate doing all this. The seniors are vicious, right? Like one senior went up to me before and she said to me, is the class always going to be like this? Because if it is, there's no point of me coming back. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so mean. That's so funny.
That's funny.
she's like to me, I'm only saying this to you because I don't have much time left, and I don't have time.
Oh,
I don't have time for
stakes
bullshit.
are high.
Yeah, I don't have time for bullshit. So I just tell you how it is. And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
looking forward to getting to that age and being able to do that. Don't worry about the siders, just go all in.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, fine. And so basically, the woman wants me to make the class harder because it was too easy. So I made it harder, and she's like, "That's exactly what I want."
Oh.
And after she said that, another woman came up to me. She's like, "That was too hard." I'm like, "Oh." And oh my god, the seniors are nuts. There's like so I think the resistance bands in the gym. So
yeah.
we're trying to get them to do like a tricep exercise to strengthen their triceps. So if they fall, they can catch themselves. So I'm like, okay, guys, put it behind your neck, and we're gonna go press down, right? One woman, I didn't even know because there's like 30 seniors in the room. She took their band and put it around her neck. And and then like every time she would press on the band, she would be like, and
you need to be careful you're not like liable for their death. Oh my god.
I didn't know she was doing this, but all the seniors were like looking at her, right? They're like laughing too, right? Because it makes them even. It's like when they're older, they have a sick sense of humor about death.
Oh my gosh.
They're all laughing, and I look, and I'm seeing her. She's like, and I'm like, oh fuck! I'm like, hey, stop! I had to fix it for her, right? And the worst thing is, she did it again the next week. So I'm like, is she trying to kill herself on purpose?
Gosh. She's gonna do a habit. She'll be trying it at home.
Yeah, exactly. So, so it's bad. So basically, the point I'm trying to make is like, yeah, I have to teach all those classes to make more money, but that's not. Like, I only like to do a little bit of that, but like, I'm gonna take your advice for sure, and like, I'll just force myself. Hey, you know what? Like, I'll go teach a bunch of those damn group classes and make the big bucks even if I hate it, because then later I'm gonna hate my life more if I don't.
Yeah, I think like basically I should have made a spreadsheet and just figured out like how much was coming in and how much would be going out and then how much is left to live on. Is that enough? I didn't do that.
Yeah, no, that spreadsheet causes me nightmares. Like,
yeah, you can get online ones, but I guess it's basically the same thing.
Have you ever traveled with an IJ who had like a spreadsheet of every single thing that you have to do during your trip? Like, hey,
no.
one do this, they do this, day three do this. At this time,
actually, I went traveling with my sister once, and she's like, I think she's like blessed savior, and she'd like planned everything out, and I started being annoyed with her. I mean, it's easy to get annoyed with people when you're traveling, but then I realized the reason why I was annoyed with her was because she was deciding everything, and she'd planned it all out, so I was like, okay, fine. But then, yeah, I was pissed off that she was like making all the decisions.
Did you talk to her about it, or is it just like?
I was only there with her for 2 weeks, and then I was staying on for 3 months, so I just sucked it up.
I'll just let her get her way then, and that's it.
Yeah.
I wonder what would have happened though if you planned it instead and you had like that itinerary. Would she have followed it? Is she looking for order?
Probably not. She's really bossy.
Just,
even when we were kids, she was like a tyrant.
Is she older sister or younger sister?
Yeah, older.
Oh, okay, I see now. You're the younger.
Yeah, she's like always been the top dog.
I see. She's the alpha female.
She's always told me what to do.
Oh
gosh.
How do you must get along with her to an extent. You must like her because
I do now. She can't control me anymore. Unless we're having a family gathering, then I don't mind. It's only like a day or something.
So it'll be a nightmare for you to spend like all day with her because she's so controlling and like bossy.
No, it's okay now. Now I just think it's amusing. It amuses me.
Yeah.
And she gets all her like controlling energy out in her job because she's like a big manager in a bank. So she just tells people what to do all day long.
Does she have people problems, or is she like chill with people like in general?
I'm not sure, but she sure does like validation cookies. I mean, she's always like, I want to get this promotion. And then she gets it. She's like, I want to get this one next. And she's always got something she's working towards.
Okay.
It's like eating all the validation cookies.
It could just be like an IJ that's tribe about self, I guess. It could be.
Yeah.
Masculine
could be.
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah, I'm not really sure about her, to be honest.
Yeah. I plan to travel with a few like IJs before, not besides my girlfriend. My girlfriend's like sleep consumed, so she's pretty chill with this. But like I like with the blaster, IJs, I realized with them, like I get so stressed out. They show me the spreadsheet of like every single day of the trip, every single hour. Like there's a full itinerary,
Oh
and
my
I'm like,
gosh.
it just feels so restricting. There's no room for like being spontaneous when you travel. Like there's stuff that happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Beats the plan, right? I'm okay with having a general plan, but
Yeah, exactly. I have a general, like a skeleton. And
yes.
then it's like, unless there's something better, we'll do this, like general thing. But then if I go there and I see something else, I'll just do that instead. Yeah.
So I did a social experiment. I was just curious what would happen. So I countered his spreadsheet with my own detailed plan.
Oh, really?
I'm just curious what would happen,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And honestly, I don't care to follow the plan, but I wanted to see what would happen. So I showed him the plan. I'm like, I think this plan is better than your plan. That's what I said to him, and I showed him the spreadsheet, right? And he looked at it, and I was shocked because he's like kind of like really like aggressive about his plan, right? He looked at my plan, and I saw him relax. He's like, okay. And
Oh,
I'm like, oh, those IJs. If you have a
oh, that's
better plan than
interesting.
them, they're okay with it. As long as they
Ah,
as long as you
as
can
long as there's a plan.
as long as you can show them that you've thought it out, that there's a logical plan of action, and it's all written in like a a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, and it's like organized, and they look at it and they're like, looks good. And it,
Oh, interesting.
I was thinking about it too. I was like, maybe that's actually good for us EPs to do that because it gives them a break too, like to be just to be a good
Yeah, that's true.
because they're doing it all day.
Yeah.
Now you can be the EP and see how you feel.
Yeah. I guess if they feel responsible for it, then it's just like they have permission to just be spontaneous.
Yeah, and then it like, have you ever done that? Like you were the one in control of the travel and like you decided the plan.
Not travel, but when I was like, before I was married, I was living with flatmates, and I'm pretty sure they were all EPs, but
Oh
like worse than me, to the point where I didn't think I was an EP. I thought I was like a J.
yeah.
And then I was always the one doing like, the bills and stuff, like making sure everyone paid, and
Yeah. How did you feel when you did that?
pissed off. But like, I wouldn't have trusted them to do it, and that would have caused me more stress. Like, you know, so yeah, that was annoying.
Did that give you more empathy for people that you are close with now who have to deal with you, knowing that you have to deal with those idiot EPs?
The thing is, like, my husband does probably do more than me, but he doesn't really mind it. And I do try, like, I make an effort. Probably, but now, like, that's how it was before. And now my kids are at school, and there's like every week there's something, some meeting, or you have to bring in boxes, or like it's book day. And I just cannot keep this. I just basically shut it out unless it's really important. I will like take responsibility for like doctor's appointments. So basically my husband ends up sorting all that stuff out. And the teachers, they just don't even bother contacting me now. They go straight to him. So I do feel bad for him there.
Well, it's all good. I guess he has the responsibility for that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like there's so many things you can cope with.
Did when your kids, so are both your kids in school now or just one of them?
No, but the youngest one's 3, so he's in full-time nurse. Actually, he's in like until 3 p.m. and then my husband looks after him in like a couple of hours. Yeah, they basically in the UK the school goes from like morning till 3 p.m.
Okay.
So there's like 2 hours between school ending and your work ending, which is so ridiculously stupid how our society's set up.
That is dumb.
But anyway, he's got more flexible work, so he picks them up. And I'm working full time now, which is the thing that brought me most happiness, because basically for most of the day, I'm happy doing something I like, and also I'm getting way more money now.
Did you feel?
And my kids are safe in childcare. They're happy.
Did you feel a lot better once your kids are in school? Like, did you have more freedom when that happened?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's just long hours of childcare. That was just the hard thing.
Oh, I
Just
see.
draining.
But if you have 2 kids though, can they just play together? And then that kind of
no. Occasionally they'll play together. Most of the time they'll play together for like 5 minutes, and then they'll start squabbling. And if I leave them, they'll just escalate until they start hitting each other.
Oh, so
They're savage, really. They're like little animals.
you're boys or girls?
Boys.
Okay, so
I'm pretty sure they're both DIs as well, because they're so, how do you call it? They the school calls it, they're how do they say, self-directed. They don't like being told what to do.
oh, they're both EPs too.
I think they're definitely DI. I think they're definitely DI.
I like how you're because you would assume the kids would just play together but no, your kids, they like kill each other, and it's not.
Yeah. They're so annoying.
Maybe
I mean, they're really sweet and gorgeous as well, but yeah, like it's like constantly you have to sort of watch them and just like intervene and make a peace. It's probably partly to do with my bad parenting, but like I think it's also to do with them being DIs.
So basically, it sounds like if you had one DE kid and one DI kid, they would probably get along better because the DE kid play nice with the.
I think so.
Yeah, because I
or two DE kids.
Yeah, or two DE kids. Yeah, that would be funny. It's like, what do you want to do? No, what do you want to do? But
Yeah.
no, because I grew up with I have two younger sisters, and me and I think my other sister is also a DE because she's always looking for validation cookies. My younger sister is definitely DI to the max. So me and my younger sister got along really well, and we always just like play together. I think she's also an ENFP, so we had the same interest. So the DI and the DE got along, but me and the other sister were both DEs, right? So there's a clash. So I don't think two DEs would work. Actually, I think it has to be a DI and a DE for it to work. Like my girlfriend's a DI, right? She was typed as a jumper INTJ, right? Sleep, consume, play, blast. So we're okay because we're both like polar opposites, right? I'm play, blast, she's sleep, consume. She's an IJ, I'm an EP, so it's like no problem, right?
Oh, that's good.
Our problem is sensory, right? Like she has SE, it's feminine SE, so our apartment is always a mess because she's like yeah. Okay.
Well, it's good you can outsource that stuff.
Oh well, no, we take turns. She gets mad at me. She has to clean all the time because like I don't like cleaning either. So
yeah, that's
when we start fighting. But like, well, I do like I start mopping now, and like I take out the trash and stuff, and I do the laundry. So we're trying to split the chores. All right, so Lucy, I have a few more questions for you, and we'll wrap up the interview. Okay. First one is, what do you think you can do to practice your ST blast better so that number one, you can have less tidal waves as a result of your SI or ST, like money, for example. And second is, how can you help to try better with that ST, because it's blast, right? So you've experienced a lot of crazy stuff in the past that could have been avoided had you planned better and controlled yourself better. So now that you have all the facts, like what can you do to like, I guess help friends and family don't mess up the way that some of the stuff that you felt like you messed up with?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, because I have my kids, I have to practice blast a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously not doing it well. So I think what I need to do is figure out, like, I know the kids' patterns now. I know what triggers them. I know, like, things they're gonna fight over. So I think I need to like go away and figure out solutions before they happen. And then when they happen, just tell the kids, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, so that I can stop what's gonna escalate before it escalates.
Okay, so you're telling the kids the facts of the result, I guess.
Yeah, so basically if they're squabbling about something they want to share, I'll take it off them and be like, okay, we're gonna do sharing. You have 5 minutes, then you have 5 minutes, and just make it very clear. Or like, if you do this choice, then this is the consequence, and just make it really clear to them. Like before it gets to that state where it's like.
That's really good. I like that. That's a really good like rule setting, and it's specific rules too. This is it, because you give them the freedom to choose. But
yeah,
if they choose the wrong one, then they have to face the consequence, and they're responsible for it.
I started doing that a bit, and it actually works. But like, it's so draining for me. I just need to and I need to do it for more situations.
And last question for you.
Oh, you wanted to say what you asked me what my advice would be. I already started advising people, like, because my friends are the age now where it's like now or never with kids. And of course, it's all the EPs who've left it to this stage and not actually done it yet.
Yeah.
So they're all saying to me, oh, I'm thinking about having kids. Oh, I don't know whether I should or not. And then I don't want to like destroy their like, you know, idea of a lovely family, but I try and give them like a reality of how it's like, you know, just making them aware of things maybe that they're not already aware of.
You're telling them the cold hard truth of having kids, not the fantasy, but the cold hard truth.
Exactly. Because no one really believes you, you know, until they do it themselves. But at least they might take something into account if, you know, they're more aware. I don't know. Maybe they'll plan better.
I think that's what's good about the IJs, because IJs are pessimistic in general. And I think it's good that they are, because they can see the cold, especially the ICJs, they can see the cold hard truth of what's gonna come. So there's no excitement behind it. They know this is what they're gonna have to deal with. It's all bullshit. Okay, fine, you know, whatever. You know. So I think now that you're doing that cold hard truth stuff, you can kind of empathize with those IJs now who are like, who can always see this. What you're seeing, what you're experiencing and seeing right now, they can see it too, right? So you can like,
yeah, that's true.
All right. Do you have any last minute questions for me before we wrap up the interview?
Yeah, I was wondering about, because, you know, Dave and Shan and also other people were talking about archetypes.
Yeah.
And I never really thought about it before I got typed. But like, what do you think the ENFP archetype is, and how would that compare to your one of NETE? Would that be any different? I mean, like, basically their idea was like, we'll fulfill this certain role in society, and together we like, you know, we fulfill all the different roles needed for society. And obviously some people, it's really obvious, like the caring people, obviously we need those people. The people who like do ST, obviously you can see what their function is. I just can't really see what our function is.
So are you asking the difference between the archetype of NEFI versus NETE? Is that what you're wondering?
First of all, what's the archetype? What's the point of ENFPs? It's just like, why are we here? Why do we exist? Like, what's the point of us? What are we supposed to do? What's our role in the wider society? And is it different if you've got TE second rather than FI?
Okay, actually, that's not hard to answer. I wouldn't say it's just ENFP in general. It's being an EP. So like if you look at like tribal societies, I guess, you know, back in the caveman days or tribal days, so the EPs is one of the most important part of the society, because the EPs is the one that goes to the woods or to the wild to gather. Okay, we gather the food, we gather you know, we hunt, we also gather intel about other tribes. So we have the important job of gathering. Without the gathering, the tribe would be dead. Like, because we're the one that gathers the information and the supplies and the food. So we are actually super important in society. The IJs are the one that organizes whatever we gathered. That's why we get along really well. That's why we're like best pals with the IJs, because you know, because they don't want to do what we're doing. So they want to organize and stay safe and keep the tribe safe, obviously, by taking what we have. Because if they leave it to our own accord, whatever we gathered is going to go to waste, because we'll just squander it, right? So it's their job to keep whatever we gathered safe and to ration it carefully, so that you know, everyone will have it, so to say. You know, the EJs, for example, they're like the generals, the leaders, right? So they're the ones that that builds up the community, the society. They're the one that builds it up, right? And then the IP, they're like the hero archetype, right? So so the other types might feel like, okay, this is our limitation as a human. The IPs will always break the limitation and show you that, you know, as a human you can do more, right? So if you're an IP, then you're breaking limitations of what a human can do, but you're also gathering for self and tribe, right? So that's why, like, as an EP, if you want to do, like, if you want to stick to a job for a long time, in my opinion, you need to find a job that is gathering, you know, where you're gathering all day. And because that's essentially how, like David Chan said that, you know, as an ENFP, for example, our NE is what we abuse, the SI is what we need to work on, But at the end of the day, we are still an EP, and an EP needs to gather. So what we need to gather is a combination of NESI, it becomes SE. So we need to gather things. That's why they like to use Jeff Bezos as an example of like a model EP. He's an ENTP, but pretty close cousin to us, right? Because he has Amazon, he's gathered every single thing in his damn warehouse, right? So now he's serving the world with easy shipping and whatnot, and you can have anything you want, any physical thing that you want, very easily accessible. So yeah, it's the gathering of things that where we have to. It's like the end goal, the end point for us is gathering things, not ideas, things like physical objects and things, right? So so like for me, like I have a travel blog for a reason and a travel YouTube channel because I said, okay, I love traveling, but that's just money. It's like a leaky bucket. My money's coming out and gone. But if I take my travel experience and I film it on video and write a blog post about it, and also what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah. So so basically whatever I gathered, I SI it. I put in my SI. And so I'm either giving like a SF story of my travel experience, or I'm doing an ST blast on how you can save money on travel. So there's like a lot of like S involved in that travel stuff, right? And yeah, I'm making a little bit of money from YouTube advertisement. Like I make about $150 every 2 months right now because I just got 1,000 subscribers not too long ago. So now I can monetize my passion, which is travel. So I'm like, sweet. So
that's nice.
Yeah. And then ENFP Male is my second love. This is, I love travel and personality. So I have the YouTube channel, and I'm also making money from ads and a little bit from coaching people. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so I'm taking my passion of gathering. So one is gathering from people, while the other one's gathering like travel experiences. And then you can turn those to like a side hustle. I don't think it's gonna make I don't think it's gonna make me rich. But I don't know if actually Dave told me that he said to me, you know what, man, you're halfway there. Once you figure out the other half, you'll be shocked how much money you'll make. Just keep going. And Dave's advice to me was really funny too. He said, you need to do something that you don't want to do. And you know what that thing is? He said, you need to be a slimy salesperson. You need to he said, you need to learn to be a scumbag, like internet salesperson. Like over promise.
Some Ty Lopez.
Yeah. He told me to do that. He's like, he said, you don't have to do it forever, but you need to set aside 3 to 5 years of your life doing just that, like slimy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like if you don't feel like you're a piece of crap at the end of the day, like you're a scumbag piece of shit, you're not trying hard enough. Like you need to feel like you're actually a scum at the end of the day, like trying to like rip people off. He's like, get to. I felt so like I'm like, okay, I know what he's saying, and I feels like I don't want to do that, He said, hey man, I did it for 3 years, and I made 6 figures doing all that scammy shit. Like he was selling those RC airplane models on his old YouTube channel before he went back to Dave Superpowers, and like he was like telling me all this stuff, and he's like, man, you just do that, go to sell affiliates, go sell people other people's products, and you'll be shocked once you know how to sell online. You can scale it back later on and do good stuff, and just keep keep what works that that will help you sleep good at night. Because he said right now with op, he can easily make even more money if he wanted to, but it's not about money for him. With op, he said it's about like it's his ministry. He calls it his ministry.
He's reached the extra level. Yeah,
it's his church.
That's nice.
Yeah. So he said, I'm not gonna shit in my church. So I'm not gonna. That's why he charges so low for the typing and the coaching, because he said, I'm not gonna shit in my church. I'm here to help people. But he has a side business. He sells stuff on eBay, where he's just for money, just plain money. Like there's no other point but cash money. So he said that in life you have to kind of do that. You need to have an outlet for your passion and an outlet for just cash money. So you need to be able to do that. I'm like, oh, okay. So I mean, it's good that he's an IJ, he's blasting all this stuff to me, right? I'm like, okay, good. Like, because like because we don't narrow things down, right? We're just like so like scattered. So I don't know if did that answer your question about like the EP archetype? Like
no, that's really interesting. Thank you.
All right then. All right, so Lucy, thanks for coming out and doing this interview. It was good. I learned a lot from you actually, so I'm definitely gonna take a lot of your advice into to heart. I'll tell my girlfriend about it when she gets home.
That was nice to talk to you.
All right. Peace out.